So some basic info on mindfulness and when to use it. Mindfulness practices are helpful for so many things, but when you're living with any issues of dysregulation, because for whatever reason, right? Doesn't matter, any issues of that. Mindfulness is going to help you get a little bit of distance from your thoughts, feelings, and sensations as it's building the observer, right? The part of you that can just watch and see and observe the movements of your mind, of your heart, of your body. And so mindfulness really builds that in us, that capacity. If you're not ready to allow whatever might come up, whatever thoughts might emerge, to be seen, or feelings that come forward that want to be seen, you're not going to want to practice mindfulness until you feel more ready. And so, if that's your case, then you're going to want to go to focus and safety and really just work with establishing that first, the ability to interrupt and that ability to restore calm, to restore that felt sense of safety. But if not, if you feel ready, then that practice, it's the same. Like, everybody uses it, it's different ways, and there's many different meditations calling themselves mindfulness when they're not. But basically, you are just allowing, right? The step is to just allow, just sit. You don't have to be in formal meditation. This can just be a brain exercise, just sitting and not trying to do anything, not trying to focus, not trying to think in any particular way. You're just allowing what comes up and just noticing. And it's going to be a whole lot of thoughts about your day, about you, about something you need to do, or something someone did to you or said to you. That's our default mode network. And that is our ego. It is self referencing, but it's there to keep us alive. So it's not a bad thing or an enemy. Just notice, just observe, right? And then it's about using the right imagery for it to kind of move away from you, or to put it in a box that you need to come back to later, right? Sometimes we don't feel like we can let things float away. So have your special container that you create, that you put those things in. And those things can be brought out later with a therapist or in a different way with support. But, put those things in there. The things that you have trouble allowing to just move away from you, put them in that box or that suitcase or what chest, whatever container works for you. It doesn't matter. There's no right one. But you're allowing, and then you just notice, because most often this is the thing with difficult work, is these things want to be seen and acknowledged. So as things come up, just notice how you respond to those thoughts or those feelings or those sensations. Where do you feel them in the body? This can be a way that you come to understand your system better and to listen in with your vagus nerve and tuning into that, like where you feel different things, when certain types of thoughts emerge or certain feelings, types of feelings emerge. Where do you feel that? And then you're just allowing things to come without judgment, without force, just allowing. You're not controlling it, making it come up, just letting it come, just letting go and letting any thought or feeling or sensation emerge. Seeing it. It also is helpful to name it, right? Sometimes people can get bogged down with that, but I found it profoundly helpful, and it gets a little more distance even, making it easier to let things flow on. When we give it a name, right? What kind of thought? What kind of feeling are you having? Are you planning? Are you remembering? Are you judging? Are you criticizing? Are you problem solving? There's so many, whatever names, whatever word, and the word matters. Play with the word until you find the right word that fits that kind of thought or that kind of feeling or that kind of sensation. Play with words. If you feel like you get stuck on words, get a thesaurus, like pull out an online thesaurus and plug in whatever word is close to it, see what other words come up. It's really helpful because naming what we're feeling or thinking, it helps it be seen, right? It helps it not only to be seen and acknowledged, but it helps us build that awareness of it and understand it a little better. So, and again, it gives you that another little bit of distance from it. And then once it's been seen and acknowledged, then you can let it float on, right? You can use whatever imagery works for you. There's links on here for using cloud imagery, using mountain imagery, using leaf on water imagery. You could use stars in the sky, like shooting star imagery. You can use just your breath, like wind, right? Like you're feeling, you're noticing, you're seeing it and acknowledging it. And then as you exhale, letting it leave you with your breath going out into the wind and the world. Whatever imagery works, because imagery matters, right? If we don't feel like we're connecting with it, it's not going to flow away from us, right? We're not going to be able to let it go. Another piece of imagery that can sometimes be helpful, noticing the things that we cling to and we don't want to let go of. You can see that like your hand, like you're holding a balloon on a string, and just gently, slowly trying to open that hand and relax it enough to allow that string to slip through and let the balloon drift away. And so you can literally use your hand and just slowly opening it. If you feel yourself seizing up and like, no, I've got to cling to it, like, okay, my fist is tight around it again. Just again, using that biofeedback with your body. When you can, relax your hand and allow it to float away. So you discover and play with imagery, because once you know what imagery works for you, it's just following those steps, right? Which you can do on your own, or you can, have those meditations handy if they're helpful for you, if you like the imagery or the music or whatever. Notice also the things that you want to shove away, that you're like, whoop, yep, can't get that away from me fast enough. Because with those, it's helpful to not shove them away, just noticing the feeling and that desire, and gently hold it a little longer. Just gently sit with it a little longer, noticing what else it brings up in you. So when you live with difficult things, it's really helpful to do this work with a therapist if you don't feel like you can do it on your own. The key is being gentle. If you're not ready to allow, if it causes you too much distress when it comes up, things will be distressing that come up. But if you can't ground yourself, anchor yourself to be able to allow these things to kind of move through you, then again, talk with your therapist about creating more of those supports so that you feel more ready and able. And you may not be able, you may not ever be ready, and that's okay too. So it's really about using these tools to help you with your lived experience in daily life so that you don't feel at the mercy of these things that happen. We have events and people in our lives that will push us off course, that push us off balance, or that, like I said, literally pull the rug out from under you and you feel like you are in free fall. All of these are very distressing feelings. And so this is a practice that can help you unpack them when you're ready. And again, it does not have to be in a sitting meditation, in something formal. Let go of any ideas about how you need to sit or how your hands need to be or how you need to breathe. You can explore those things. They can be helpful, but don't let them bog you down, right? It's really about finding that imagery that works, that allows us to sit with things that are hard until we can gently let them slip on. How to put things in a container when we're like, I need to come back to this and I cannot open my hand and let that one go. It's okay. It's probably one that you're just going to be doing a lot of work with. And just know that the same thoughts and feelings will come up again and again and again and again. And that's okay. That's part of the work, right? Some things just need to be seen and to be seen and to be seen, to be felt. We have to tend ourselves well, right? And this means not denying what's coming up. A note on depression. When you are in depression, mindfulness brings your brainwaves down, which is typically not what you want with depression. But when you are maybe trying to explore and understand better your depressive cycles, sometimes that can be helpful. But, caveat, when you're experiencing an active depression, right, you may have rumination, which is one of the expressions. Most people have more than one expression. Some people might just have one, just rumination. But rumination is one of those indicators, right? We can, if you notice, like it's churning the same exact thoughts over and over and over and over, and they're pretty harsh, pretty painful. And it's that rumination feels like it's just re injuring yourself over and over again. That is when you recognize, oh, okay, I've probably got an active depression going right now. And allowing these thoughts to continue, like letting the rumination just keep going, actually may exacerbate your depression and increase your rumination. So go to the depression page if you're experiencing any of that to understand better which tools are more helpful when you're in different states of depression. So, but in general, you will have, it's common, right? Because when we're beginning to allow and to make time and space for ourselves to really allow whatever we're thinking or feeling, there is a lot, you'll find a lot of rinse and repeat, and that's okay. That's just what you need to do, right? Just allow it to come and see it again and allow it to float on. It's when we grab it and then we get judging ourselves or trying to force it away, that won't help you. It's that surrendering into allowing, like, yep, I see this feeling and I'm letting it flow through. Again, a note on suicidal ideation. The surrender and allowing piece is not what you want when you're experiencing active suicidal ideation. You want focus and you want things that are interrupting. You want to interrupt that signal. So that page will be coming up again soon. So go to that page for more of those nuances. But if you live with that, you're going to want to avoid mindfulness practices in particular, because of that essence of allowing. And we don't want to allow, because when you're having suicidal ideation, you're in cognitive distortions, right? And parts of your brain are active and whispering to each other that we don't want to indulge, right? You don't want to indulge and allow those thoughts. There's different approaches for suicidal ideation. So talk with your therapist about that. And if they're not sure, reach out. You can ask me. I can try and do my best to help you determine which kind of meditation or neuro tool practice is going to be most helpful for you. But in general, with many of these other issues, this practice helps us to understand ourselves better. It builds neuroplasticity. Builds our flexibility, right? It builds our ability to flow through things versus hitting into them, right? It softens the path. It softens life. It makes us less rigid, less either or type of thinking, and more both and. Because you'll notice sometimes you have thoughts that seem in contradiction or feelings that seem in complete opposition to each other. Mindfulness practices can help us sit with holding both, with acknowledging we can feel things that feel opposite, and we can stretch and we can contain and we can feel both things. So begin with following, just simply exploring what imagery works for you and following those steps, right? Of just allowing, noticing, naming, or giving it a label, what kind, and allowing it to float away. Or when we have to, put it in our container for later. Those are all helpful practices that help us understand ourselves better and help us move through life a little more fluidly. And they really can help free us from feeling at the mercy of these things and feeling as pushed and pulled by them. So